Okay. Uh, so, um, yeah, so we have done around 50 projects across the country, uh, right from Patiala to Bhuj to Diu to Bangalore to Hampi to Raigad to Khajuraho to Varanasi to Lucknow to Patna. Uh, these are the four verticals we deal into, which is museums and exhibitions, interior and architecture, urban and heritage, branding and communication. Uh, these are some collages of the projects, which I will show you in detail. Uh, a lot of political projects, because a lot of museums have been done uh, with political parties and governments. Then some high-profile clients from Mr. Modi to Mr. Bachchan, which is good feeling to be dealing with them and doing a lot of design with them. Uh, then this is one of the books being published by the earlier Vice President of India, to working with Mr. Thackeray on some of the museum in Mumbai right now. Uh, yeah. Then we did into. Hope I'm audible. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, uh, so this is what we usually do. We do a lot of conservation nowadays: services, execution, lighting, projection mapping, film and videos. I think this insect of film and video came into me after studying a lot with Satyaki sir from Media Center. So we've been doing a lot of film and video nowadays. Then graphics and curation and media integration, research and content, installations and operation maintenance. Yeah, so I will start first with the kind of museums and exhibitions I've done. So this is a museum which we have done in Lucknow. Again, the building has been designed by us, and the whole interiors is designed and executed by us. So the whole building is kind of an amphitheater, because it's a museum of socialism, which is uh, a kind of a philosophy which was started in India by Jayaprakash Narayan ji, whose museum this is being. And because of socialism as a philosophy, we wanted to know that how we can teach this to the people of India, uh, with not making a museum how it used to be earlier. It is not a museum of showcases where you go and see objects which doesn't talk to you, and you don't understand it after seeing 3 or 4 objects, but how it need to be more inspirational and experiential. So that is how the building was designed. If you see the whole building is an amphitheater in itself from top. What is the circulation of the building, how the people will get into it, what is the user flow, what going to be the user experience after the user come out of the museum itself. Yeah, so I will just show you a small video on this. So this is actually with the narration of Mr. Bachchan. So he actually narrated the overall story.
कौन हूं मैं, कौन हो तुम, कौन है ये अरब
This is the amphitheater I was talking about.
जिनसे ये देश बना है, कौन थे जेपी?
These are some of the sculptures to actually make it very experiential for the kids, for the Aam Janta of Lucknow and India to understand Jayaprakash Narayan. This is another huge kid sculpture where we explain the philosophy of Jayaprakash Narayan through sound. On the left hand side is the National Struggle Wall. So you wear audio guides and you listen to the stories. This is all the visuals printed on khadi as a material, because we never have photographs of those times, so we actually made all the graphics. Earlier you see the degrees flying as an installation, because he threw the British degree. And then this is one of the biggest kind of sculpture which we have done in India. So it is storytelling with different forms and different narratives and different typologies. So earlier you see was installation. This is a kind of sculpture where different balls are connected to 272 servo motors, and then they make different shapes. This is a documentary film being showcased. This is a museum where we have kept the replicas of Jayaprakash Narayan ji. Then these are
भाई
all his
सरबाज
documents. So you need to
देखिए
understand that how the
देखिए
user will go through the story, what he
सक्रिय
will
राजनीति
understand,
के कुंड में कूद गया
and what he will not understand.
क्या थी
So how you
वो
need to be
मजबूरियां
a story maker where you can get the story in 5 minutes and also in 5 hours. So you need to have layers of story. Then this is another sculpture which we done for showing emergency. So it's like a flip book. When it rotates at a speed, you see the stairs become motion. It's like a scrapbook in
25
cylinder.
जून की
This
रात
is made out of nails. The
इमरजेंसी
torture
बंद हो
being
गई
happening during emergency. This is again made out of glass, a prison book. This is a holographic projection,
ये
a
जेट की
technology where
जिंदगी की
we can
शुरुआत
make people come alive. So it looks like that he is
रोशनी
in
जल
front of
रही
you
थी
through holographic
और
projection.
युवा
This
राष्ट्र
is projection mapping
एक
outside
नई सुबह के इंतजार में था
Jayaprakash Narayan Museum, which is a night event like a light and sound show.
उनके मन में एक ही विचार था एक ही आशा
This is a space
देश
made
की
out of window grills. Yeah. Murli, since I can't hear the video myself, so I don't know that how is the video audible or not, and am I audible or not? So
Absolutely audible, Siddharth. You are.
all right, and the video sound is also good.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, perfect. So, so if you see here, I'm going to be going in details now of the museum itself. So if you see here, uh, this is the place where we enter. You can see my red sketch, which I'm sketching on the iPad right now. So this is the place we enter because we wanted to enter from the ground floor. And then this is how the person enters into the lobby area, which is large. This is how the space was kept, which is big in, in, uh, in place. So you kind of enter and then you get cut off from the area of parking and light and traffic and sound. And then you break away and then you have this breakaway space of getting into a museum. And then once you go down, then you practically enter into the main museum area. So you go through the whole basement and then you climb up to the first floor and then to the second floor, and then you come out to the terrace and then you walk down through the terrace itself, because it is very hard for people to make them travel from ground floor to the top floor because people don't want to climb. So that is what we did. We kind of made them climb from floor to floor, understanding everything, and then they will come down easily the 4 floors. And I think the challenge was that how to make sure that these experiences, these 25 experiences, are being divided into different spaces, because it should not be a museum where people don't go. It should be more interactive. It should be more entertaining for people. Entertaining is a term which we use because I think for the Indian psychology, you need to first entertain them, and once you entertain them, then they will evolve and inspire. But to make sure that they are into the museum and they are getting interested, you need to make them entertained first. So that is how the whole journey and whole designing need to happen. uh, yeah, so this is the installation I was talking about on the left hand side, where he threw his degrees. And yeah, so here the information also in layers. So if a person just have 5 minutes, which is very you know which is very much prominent in the Indian society right now, because everybody is on mobiles and the patients have gone. So a person have less time, so he can get to know the overall story. So he will come into this room, will see the bigger sculpture here in middle, and then we'll get to know the story. If he is a scholar, or if he has more interest, then he can go to the back panels and he can understand the objects here, which is here, right? So this is the first layer, which is the main installation. Then these are second layers, which are the objects here. You see a mic here, then you see a gun here, which is the second layer, which is the 3D, which attracts you. And then the third layer is the graphics, where you get to know the overall story. And then you read text. And then in graphics also, if you see, the red human is Jayaprakash Narayan. So there are 4 layers to the overall story. And that is how we have designed the overall museum. That if a person don't have time, he gets into the first layer and quickly get to know the overall story. And then if he has time, get into the second layer, or gets into the third and the fourth layer also. Again, if you see here, you have audio guides. To make it more appealing and interesting, we got 3 narrators: Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, Mr. Om Puri. It was one of the last project of Mr. Om Puri that time, and then Kabir Bedi. So with this, it got the publicity that these famous Bollywood figures are telling you the overall story of the museum itself. So you kind of understand the overall story and listen to the overall story there with that. Uh, so the kind of spaces you need to have. You need to have dark spaces. And the similar rules happens with the digital media also, happens with the visual communication also. So how you need to make sure that the people don't see the building, don't see the interiors, they see the main thing. So that is how you see a very dark floor. You don't want to make it black, otherwise it will come out and strike your head. So you want to make it gray because it is neutral and it is dark enough. And then the main element is dark, which is again glass, because if you don't use glass, then the everything will look very bulky. With glass you have that flexibility of a material looking a bit contemporary. And then you have the main highlights at pictures, and then you backlight them. So that is how people concentrate on the pictures rather than concentrating on the overall scenario. uh, yeah Again, how to use colors. So wherever in the museum you design, you need to have dark spaces in middle, because that is what museum designers and scenographers like, because you can play a lot with light inside, having dark spaces, light on the visual. But the breakaway spaces need to be very lit up, need to have daylight. Otherwise, if a person walks for hours and hours into a dark, dingy, and majestic space, he will burn his eyes, and he will have a headache after some time. So it is very important that you build these spaces, and in between you have these breaks which are full of daylight, full of bright colors, where people kind of refresh and then it gets into it again. It's like walking a movie, getting into a break space which is very colorful, very cheerful, and then you again get into a movie space. On the right hand side, if you see, this is the street of Patna. Again, you need to kind of do a lot of research. Again, uh, so I personally am very passionate about stories, and how what happened that time, and how what were the people that time, what they were doing, how everything reacted. And I think I get a high of knowing that story, understanding that story, and then the power of telling that story to another person who will get evolved after understanding the story. So on the right hand side, if you see, is the street of Patna, where you see for the first time the women were on streets and protesting against the government that time. uh, and there was a famous quote that at 9 o'clock, the prime minister used to speak at a radio, and everybody used to come at 9 o'clock and bang their thalis, which was the Thali Bajao movement, that they don't want to listen to the prime minister. And why they were banging thalis? Because the thalis are empty, they don't have food. So that is the whole. So we went to Patna, knowing that how the old Patna used to look like, and how these characters were made, and then they were 3D printed, and then this whole drums moves at a speed, and when it moves at a speed, it creates a sound, it creates a visual, which is like where you feel that something bad is happening. And then slowly you see, because these characters moves a bit with every fraction. Like in film you have these 12 fractions, 12 segments. That is how we calculated these 12 to 16 characters, and then they slightly change a bit when it moves at a speed. The characters comes into motion, it looks like the kid is waving the flag. What it color it need to be, what material it need to be. It need to be one color because you want to highlight the objects. So these are kind of detailing which ones enjoy once and get into a practical scenario. And this is very, very important, because a lot of money is getting into it. So for example, this sculpture costed us around 48 lakhs. So it need to be bloody well, because you are taking crores from the government itself, and then if you don't perform a good job, then everything will go into vain. So it is a lot of experimentation. At the same time, you have to be very, very practical, that what you want to show, you need to detail out till the end, because it's going to be in public. Again, what is the type of light which should have? So these are lights which were installed, because the light need to uh, move in terms of the brightness with the movement of the circle, and that is how the effect will come. So this is a mix of product designing and visual communication and architecture, which is probably my ground. Uh, then you see other spaces, the holographic projections I talk about, and then other sculptures and other spaces itself. So it's a big museum, it's around 50,000 square feet, very near to your place. So let me know when you like to visit this. I will probably get a tour organized, because with the government change, these things are not kept well. But I will make sure that you have audio guides and you can listen to Amitabh Bachchan telling you the story. Uh, yeah, so other details like detailing out this map that how India used to be when Jayaprakash Narayan was born. So again, how nobody knows Jayaprakash Narayan, to be very frank. I was not knowing him before I started working on the museum itself. So he was a person who came and gone. The people of this time don't know, and when I speak that, a lot of government officers get offended that you don't know Jayaprakash Narayan, but that's a reality. I can count on the group right now out of 25, I think 20 of them will not know Jayaprakash Narayan. So it is very important for the users to get to know that whom they are getting to know. So we first practically talked about the story of India rather than story of Jayaprakash Narayan. So we started with 1902, what the India was, and this was the map of India, which was uh, divided into Rajwadas and British colonies and how it used to be. What was Burma that time? What was Pakistan that time? What was Sri Lanka that time? And that is how you understand. Oh, 1902. We are talking about that time, and then the national struggle wall. That what was happening in India. Parallelly, this was what is happening in India, and then yes, by the way, Jayaprakash Narayan was this guy who was doing this stuff. Yeah, so that is how you build the story. Again, and a very interesting museum, the next project, which is Jamiyat Ulema-e-Hind. Uh, so a greater challenge of a story and what you want to tell to the end user. So Jamiyat Ulema-e-Hind is an organization which is around 100 years old, and it's been practically formed by the ulemas of that time for the freedom struggle. So these ulemas were very much close with with Maharaja, one of the Maharajas, and then they practically thought that they want to do something for the Indian struggle. And ulemas used to be the people who were like the pandits, or like the you have the priest in the church. So they are the people who are the lovers of religion, and so the practical scenario is that these people went into freedom struggle, and then they formed this organization of Jamiyat Ulema-e-Hind, the ulemas of Hind, and then how they can contribute to the freedom struggle. And the museum was to tell that what Jamiyat Ulema-e-Hind is. It is to celebrate their 100 years. At the same time, what is going on in India right now, and then how to tell people, the bigger audience, that what is the Indian Islam, and it is not uh, what we think. And we have done book for this also, what is Indian Islam, and how and when the country got liberated, and how everything got formed, and where we are, and how the India will progress. So I think it was a very touchy topic for me, because I kind of don't believe in any religion, but at the same time I'm very close to the owner, or the leader, Mr. Mahmood Madni. I think if you search Mahmood Madni versus Musharraf, you will get a very famous YouTube video between the fight between two, which is very famous, and how he told him that what Indian Muslims are all about. It's a 3 minutes of video, but it is very interesting. How he relate Indian Muslims at a totally different brand altogether. So it was kind of a responsibility on our shoulder, that how we make sure the person who is entering this museum will get to know JUH, but at the same time get to know the pillars of Indian Islam. Yeah, so this is one of the installation where we wanted to highlight and shout that uh, Muslims in India love their religion, and at the same time they love their country. So and we wanted to shout this. So what we did was that we were having less space, kind of a box of a trial room, which is around 10 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet. What we did was that we put glass, etched glass all over the wall and the ceiling and the floor, and then we have made this crescent moon, and then we have lit that up from behind. So what you see because of that is a huge space, which is probably three-dimensional, because they're all mirrors. You remember that you're going to the trial room and looking yourself becoming 100. So that is what we did. There are mirrors all across, and then you enter to this black portion, and then you see this all across. And there's a show which goes around, which teaches you that what is Indian Islam, and what is Islam, and uh, what is India as a country all about. So again, when we are designing these museums, we need to have these showstoppers in between, because people open their eyes because of those showstoppers. When they see something larger than life, when they see something which is majestic, they get to understand a lot of things. So practically what happens is showstoppers excites them to a level that, oh, we want to see this. It's like a very dirty and informal way, I'm telling you that, you see a film promo and it has nothing to do with film, but the promo excites you to see the film, and then you get the real meaning. Uh, so that is what these showstoppers does in the museum itself. Uh, then on the left hand side, you see we have taken away old artifacts of the fights between Jinnah and the leaders of JUH. In the middle, if you see, is a sculpture which talks about the unity of India. Sorry. So it is about So it's a sculpture where we got the things from all across India and the different religion, and then when you throw light on it, the shadows on the Indian map. So it is a way to tell about the values of JUH. The value of JUH is that they believe in the unity of all religion, and they believe India first. On the extreme right, you see is the story of partition, uh, and the community at JUH were against it, but it happened, and it shows you the scene of partition and what happened. Then on the left hand side, of course, you see a lot of replicas of books and stamps and what happened. On the right hand side, you see, again, you need to make sure that the user interacts with the exhibit. If you make people interact physically, then they will understand it much better. I mean, reading is they can read at books, they can read at internet, but when they are in the museum, they want to, you want to play with the users. The user is like a person in the theater you have. You want to play with him. You want to make sure that he's a part of the story. So, their one function was to tell everybody that we are against terrorism, and then we all need to fight it. So on the right hand side, you see what we did was we took all the letters naming all the terrorist attack which happened in the country, and then you need to climb up and then break those letters. So it's kind of you are breaking all the terrorist attacks which happens. Once the user do it, then he understand, and he get a relief that I kind of try to break the the thoughts of terrorism, and once he interacts, he kind of understands it and he remembers it all of the life. So it is about telling the user one or two things which he remembers all across his life. So that is how this museum was designed. Um, yeah, so this is one of the views itself. So this is the partition room where you try to enter into the partition room, but you have these big banners which kind of restricts you, which talks about the quotes which were told by JUH leaders that time. So it is like JUH never wanted to have the partition, but that is what is happening. Once you are trying to reach the partition room, these banners try to restrict you with those quotes. But you literally, because there's a light here and you tend to move here, you get to know that what happened in the partition itself. Yeah. So yeah, there's overall flow to the museum, which I am not going into details. Then Subhash Chandra Bose, another museum which we did at Red Fort. So inside the Red Fort, they have barracks made by Britishers, which is like 150 years old. So after 1857, Britishers took over Red Fort, and then they made these British barracks for their army. So now recently what we have done is we have conserved these barracks and converted them into museums on the stories related to Subhash Chandra Bose and 1857, because that is much. Subhash Chandra Bose INA trial happened at the Red Fort, and 1857 kind of practically started from Red Fort itself. So there are different museums which are designed there. This was inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister himself last year. Then again, this is the theory that how to utilize the space, which is an old building, and how to conserve that building, and to have larger than life pictures of Subhash Chandra Bose, and then how you practically document his life. This is 1857 again. How you utilize the space. This is a visitor center where we actually conserved the building also. So on the left hand side, you see that with ages how the barrack is lost with a lot of lime plaster and the cement over it, and then we conserved. So we took the traces of the old building from the walls, and then took out the original wall and then kind of lit up the old wall. The whole science of conservation, that how you tell a story of the building in itself. So you research on the building, you take out things which have been placed on the building itself, and then you get that in the original form. So that is what we did, and we are doing a big information center on Red Fort, which is going to be the biggest of the works we have done. Which is the work is going on. It's going to be open to the public soon. Yeah, so this is some shots of information center at Red Fort. These are some interior shots of the Red Fort Information Center. This is the Pathfinder, which we have done, which is a museum of Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Subhash Chandra Bose and P.V. Narasimha Rao at the Teen Murti Bhavan. So I will just show you a video on this. Again, the challenge here was that Teen Murti Bhavan is actually the home of the first Prime Minister of India, which is Jawaharlal Nehru. And a lot of kids come here because Jawaharlal Nehru is known to be a person which is very close to kids, and it is a mandate for the schools that they need to get kids here. Uh, so fortunately, unfortunately, we have 4,000 kids coming daily. So we are working on these whole heritage places where we get a lot of audience. Like Red Fort is visited by 10,000 people daily. You can imagine what 10,000 people are. In 1 month, our museum was visited by more than 1 lakh of people. It is like crazy. It is like launching a film. So 4,000 people daily, 4,000 kids daily, and how you make sure the kids understand who Atal Bihari Vajpayee and P.V. Narasimha was. They don't know who Atal Bihari Vajpayee was. They were not born at that time. So how you tell a story? So what we did was we first make sure that these kids shake hands with with Atal Bihari Vajpayee and P.V. Narasimha Rao. So we created an augmented reality where kids can shake hands with them. So they kind of understand, oh, this is Atal Bihari Vajpayee. This is how he used to look like. He was the Prime Minister of India. And then, you kind of suddenly go into the details, and then, we created holographic projections so he can talk to the students, etc., etc. So I'll show you a video on this.
स्वागत है आपका पथ प्रदर्शक में, जहां भारत में बदलाव की लहर लाने वाले कुछ व्यक्तित्वों को आप करीब से जानेंगे।
So this is augmented reality where he's kind of shake hand the kids, and then they get to know some details. Today's technology, we kind of have this good scenario of documenting everything. You can see a lot of speeches by him, and the holographic projection in which it looks like that they are in front of you, talking to you. Yeah. And then lighting up the building at night. Yeah. So again, thinking what the overall scenario of the old building need to be. So we actually made stools out of newspapers, because newspaper used to be the only way of communication between the user and the Prime Minister at that time. Now we have media, but that time it need to be Doordarshan and newspapers. So we made all the stools, all the furniture out of the newspaper itself. This is Agra Museum, again, one of the biggest museums which we are doing in Agra right now. The building is being designed by Artcom and Deva Chipperfield. I'm just going through quickly into it, the inside museums, spaces. This is a building which will be designed by B.V. Doshi, one of the very famous architects in India, Pitchkar Award winner. And then we are doing the interiors of it. It is on the earthquake which happened in Gujarat. So these are the projects which are undergoing right now. You will see them soon. We are doing National Museum right now, which is one of the prestigious awards we got. So again, National Museum is a treasure in itself, and then everything and anything you touch is of very high importance. But the way the museum is right now, it looks like old age museums of 1950s. But the museums now across the world has changed, so we are doing a new recap of these museums. Uh, then the Museum of Prime Ministers of India, the museum is CST, which is the Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus. It's been converted into a rail museum. We are doing that. Then a museum and a memorial on Bala Saheb Thackeray at Aurangabad. Yeah, I will go quickly because we have less time, and I will try to more concentrate on design works rather than going into architectural interior works. So these are some of the offices we have done. Uh, this is on a company which does railway stations. Uh, then yeah, so you can see that we have actually made the meeting room out of the compartment of the rail itself. You can see the lights and the fan here. This is office we have done for an IT company. This is another office. I'm not going into much details very quickly. An office, a technology office again. Uh, Again, we wanted to get to a theme of or all flows. So what we did was we kind of understood what the company is all about, and every theme was derived from the early stage, which was the first the people came into existence, and then the backers, and then the computer came, and then the keyboard came, and then the dot came. So this IT company deals with uh, making microchips. Minta Graphic is the company name. So then the molecule came, and then the PCB chip, and then the binary, and then the logic gates. So this is how the whole journey was divided into 10 floors, and then we got to know the interior scheme, we got to know the color scheme, and we got to know what we need to do the interiors out of the story. Yeah, and then so the so what they have is that they have computer engineers of IIT working. So they have 300 engineers of all IIT coding all day, and they have this monotonous life of coding all day and sharing on the computer. So we want to make some fun out of them. So we did this big keys of concrete all across the office garden. So they can they're all on keys typing all day, so they can sit on the keys itself. And then some kind of sculptures and making some people uh, out of computer parts. The house out of wood. Again, the person wanted everything out of wood, so we made bathtub out of wood also. This is another house. Yeah. This is a hospital we done in Patna, which is on the neuroscience. Again, we want to understand that what is the psychology of user who is coming into the hospital. And every time you go to this hospital, you have a dirty looking uh, plan which nobody understands. So we kind of made this as a flow chart. So it is very easy to understand rather than a ugly looking plan which you don't understand. Your mother will not understand that plan, but she looks at this flow chart. She will understand that how the overall hospital flows, and then where she need to get into to get something. The overall blending, because it is neurosciences, we want to play with colors. We never want to have dark colors anyway. It is all about darkness, and for neuroscience patients you need to be very bright in colors to make it alarming. Some urban heritage, we have done uh, the whole precinct of Taj Mahal, lighting up Taj Mahal itself, which was again a challenge that you cannot Taj Mahal cannot be lit up at night because of government restrictions, but the whole area need to be lit up. So how do you respect Taj Mahal without shouting? So if you see here, we have lit up the whole road. So kind of flushing the whole road rather than anything which is lighting up the sky. So it takes away from the Taj Mahal itself. Yeah. So I am not kind of showing you the video. There's a very interesting video here. I will show you the starting of the video. So what we did was we did the branding of Agra as a city. So the chief minister told us that if you go abroad, all the cities are be branded as companies like I love New York, I am Amsterdam. It kind of tells you the ethos of the city. I love New York is that everybody loves New York. I am Amsterdam means that Amsterdam has a lot of people coming from different disciplines, and everything everybody says that Amsterdam belongs to everybody. It is not one community. So that is why I am Amsterdam. Copenhagen Denmark is very open. So it is Copenhagen. So what is the identity of Agra? And that is that we realize that Agra is all about Taj Mahal, but Agra as a city is also famous for Fatehpur Sikri and its culture, which is much more than Taj Mahal itself. And a lot of people who comes to Agra just go and see Taj Mahal and went back. So how to create that brand of the city? And that is what we did with Fabric, another company based out of Amsterdam itself, that we created everything out of A, the brand of Agra. So we created hoardings out of this logo. So this is the logo which was created with the Taj Mahal icon making the A logo. It was inaugurated by the chief minister that time. And then how everything starts with A. So we say that a mystery, a journey, a monument. So there's a lot of A in Agra itself. So I will start with this video and then probably I will explain things in detail. So Agra, a promise, a history, a culture, a wonder, and a walk to Taj. And this is how we have done so this whole place was enclosed earlier, and then this is brand new now. Again, material is very important, that what is the kind of a material which you use, which was the red sandstone. Then how you make sure that people park their vehicles and they need to walk this whole kilometer, how they are, it is interesting for them. The benches used to have this logo engraved. To these bigger A's which were created here, where we have written all the stories about Taj Mahal. So you can read those stories, you can go to the QR code, and you can see the video on those stories. Then we, of course, the public utility. Again, the font, the arrow, everything was dried out of that A. This is what it was earlier. This is what is right now. This is what it was. This is what it is right now. This is what it was, and this is what it is right now. And the whole crescent get lit up at night, so at least people can go to Taj Mahal at night itself. How the light was designed, which has the reflection of Taj Mahal lights. Yeah, and then there are more things coming up, which is the Agra Museum. I'm not going into the details, it's a long video. Yeah, so this is, you see as the entry to Taj Mahal right now and how the materials were decided. This is, you see the transaction, which is actually the main entry to Taj Mahal. It was sad how it was there earlier. But if you see right now, all the hoardings, all the, the shopkeepers also have this A logo being installed. So they slowly and slowly have taken this brand and they have a pride in this. So if you go and see a bill also, it will have that logo embedded in it. So slowly that how this one logo get into Agra. Again, you see the change, what was there and what it is right now. These are bigger A's being installed once you walk towards the Taj Mahal, and then you have the stories of Taj Mahal being inscripted out of marble and red sandstone, and the QR code here. Again, how arrow to the font, everything was decided from the brand language of Agra itself. The bench, and you see a beautiful A here being carved. So it is all about not imitating the Nakashi of Taj Mahal. It is about respecting it. It is about to be minimal in terms.
Hello, Siddharth. You've suddenly become inaudible. Hello. Hello. Hello, Siddharth. Hello. There was some internet issue at Siddharth's end. He's trying to reconnect. Siddharth? Yes, Siddharth. You're on mute. Siddharth, you're on mute. Unmute yourself, Siddharth.
Just click here. Let me just see. Ask to unmute, sir. Ask to unmute.
Yeah, I'm on mute now.
Yes, we can hear you also.
Yeah, this Zoom is acting crazy. So I don't know where I was.
You were in the old man sitting in the bench and you were talking about the simplicity of logo.
Okay, so I will try to share my screen now. Murli, I probably can't do anything with the Zoom. I'm not able to touch anything. I'm so sorry. I will just try to connect again, huh? Strange. Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm back now. This is functioning right. Okay, so I will share my screen again. So I was talking about the brand of Agra, right?
Yes.
So I will just show you a video on the brand of Agra, that how that brand was created, and then we'll go back to the PPT. so I was practically here that time.
Right.
So this is the old Hossanabad area which we have done. So again, the challenge here was that that Hossanabad as a city is like Chandni Chowk, where there are 11 monuments, and then every monument is being encroached with a panwala and thelewala, and then these have become different pockets, and then the 11 monuments here don't talk to each other. So how to connect all these 11 monuments again, and how to redo the whole area. So if somebody want to get to know the details of how we do heritage spaces, I have a lecture at 6 today, which I will share the link with everybody, and anybody who is interested in details can come. Again, so if you see here, if we've been to Hossanabad area, there's everybody comes to Bada Imambada and goes back. They don't know you have a Rumi Darwaza and a Sabkhanda and a Chota Imambada and a clock tower and whatnot here. So the whole idea was to how to redevelop the old president how it was earlier. So I'm not going into the details because I think I'm anyway overshooting time. So this is how we have lit up the whole area and then connected the whole area again, or the water body to the clock tower to Rumi Darwaza to Tile Wali Masjid. Yeah, and then you see that there are no boundary walls now. All the centers, all the heritage connects to each other. You see again how the Rumi Darwaza was encroached. I don't know people who are from Lucknow have been to Lucknow earlier. This was all encroached. Rumi Darwaza was encroached from both sides, and what was used to see is this in the middle part. So I don't know. Suddenly my pen is not working, but I think you can see the both sides of Rumi Darwaza were encroached. So kind of clearing up both the sides and giving the heritage back to its original form. Yeah. So this is what it was earlier: encroachments and a median and a dirty street light in between, and this is what it is right now. We are doing again we are doing light and sound show on an old building known as Sabkhanda, because you need to invite users, you need to have these users back to this old surfaces, and in India people are free usually at night, so we are increasing a lot of night tourism in these places. So this was actually the plan of that 1 kilometer being done in a material known as cotton steel right in front of Bada Imambada, where we show to the people that there are 11 monuments here. So once they come to Bada Imambada, they see this map where you have these 11 monuments, and they get to know they need to walk for the next 1 kilometer. And you see the elevation of those monuments above, and then you see the whole plan. Again, cotton steel, why? Because stainless steel is something which is very jutty, very shiny. We never wanted to do in stainless steel. And then mild steel as a material gets corroded very early. It will be nowhere in 5 years. So you want to do a material which doesn't go anywhere for 50 years. And that is how we did cotton steel. Cotton steel is a material which is corroded, and it doesn't corrode further. So again, it is a mixture of visual communication, graphics, floral design, architecture, and urban design itself. Yeah, so you go back, then you see the history of these 11 monuments in 3 languages, Urdu, Hindi, and English. And then people who are coming here, which a lot of people come, can get to know some glimpse of those 11 monuments across, and then they get interested, and then they go and see those monuments. This is Gateway of India. We have done projection mapping on Gateway of India, which again, the Chief Minister told us that a lot of people are coming to Gateway of India, but nobody knows the story of Gateway. So we did this whole video animated on Gateway of India itself. Again, you need to play with the scale of Gateway of India. And this has also been narrated by Mr. Bachchan itself. It's an 18-minute show, happens every night in Hindi and Marathi.
अरब सागर के तट पर पसरी किसी जल परी सी ये जलपुरी अपने हुस्न, हुनर, हौसले, हिम्मत की बदौलत
You can make feel the building is falling. You can do anything with this technique. So it is about understanding the technologies of today's world, today's time, and then doing design. Yeah, I'm not showing you the overall video. These, you can see some glimpse of it. We are doing some iconic sites. We are doing redevelopment of Taj Mahal, Red Fort, Qutub Minar, and Fatehpur Sikri. We have done, this is Bithur. We are doing the designing of, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there was light fluctuation. That's why I asked. So we are doing the redevelopment of Bithur, the old Kanpur. Not the Kanpur, but across once you clear Kanpur and then you go to Bithur. So we are planning the whole redevelopment of Bithur area. We have done Naveen Market redevelopment, which was taking away all the garbage, taking away all the encroachments, and you know, unfortunately, a lot of time the designers designed something, but it has not been obeyed as. So we created a huge parking in front of Naveen Market, so no vehicles are allowed inside, and all the wiring was taken underground, and then all the facade was streamlined. But recently, I got to know that there's now again parking inside, which is not the good scenario. So but again, it was a very, very heavy duty project. Doing public spaces which are already built is a nightmare in itself. So, but it gives you a lot of satisfaction also. It is all about you knowing the user, talking to them, how they will deal with the situation, but you go give back to the city. We have done the whole system design of mandis of Uttar Pradesh, which are these old farmer markets, where they are farmers who go and sell these anaj through a middleman, and there was a lot of problem which was going. So we went this huge research of going across 300 mandis and trying to know what are the problems and dealing and solving those problems. So one of the problem which was solved was the transaction between the middlemen and how to get away the middlemen, and that is how we launched the card system. Yeah, and then understanding the overall stakeholders, the primary, the secondary, and tertiary, and then how you get to know their problems and how you solve it. Um, then coming up with system design challenges and solving those. Uh, I will probably by the end show you a video on the Mandi itself. Uh, then doing a lot of brand communication, doing the stationery for Mr. Bachchan, how you designed the paper for him. So, what we did was we actually took the sand of Allahabad, because that is where he was born. And, he was a person from converting from dust to gold. So that is how the brand identity was formed, from grace to gold. And the whole paper was manufactured by a company in Italy, because that is where in that town you get a lot of famous paper manufacturers. So we took the sand and then we took the sand and then uh, you know we took the sand from Allahabad and took the sand to Italy, and then they manufactured this paper out of sand itself. So, and it is all about constant that what you want as a designer, and then you do challenge. So it is all about creative courage, that and being in your own company, driving your own company, you need to be a bit more patient, and you need to be you need to have a lot of courage, because every time with a new project you are doing something which you have not done earlier. You don't have the experience to do that. But I think what you need to thrive is the business. You need to understand, have that business sense, and you need to be very, very passionate about design. So thinking of doing a paper out of sand and searching who can do it, and going to Allahabad, getting the sand, taking the sand through flights to Italy, and then getting all the paper back. And this is now how he's using it. So you go to his Twitter handle and he is sending something in print, he writes on this paper. And then how that paper is designed, and then so it is made out of sand, but it is not, it is not a problem to write on it. Yeah, so this is, you can see the whole process and the testing with different pens. And this is how you see the whole stationery, which is from gray to gold. This is another sculpture we did at display, is the branding of Agra, how the collateral were designed out of this. This is branding of Lucknow, how we did a lot of collaterals out of that. This is a branding for a Patna Art Center. We again did the website and a lot of collaterals for them. This is a book which we have done on the perception of Indian Islam. So yeah, so this is a book where we kind of, we wanted to tell there's a problem with difference of perception and reality. So every page has a transparency slide in between, and once you take this transparency from right to left hand side, you change something from perception to reality. And that is how the whole book is very interactive for a common person to know what it is all about. Yeah, and yeah, that is some works which we have done. And then I will just try to show you the Mandi video I have. Yes, I have the Mandi video. So this is again the challenge for the farmers and how we came up with the card system and then how they solved the overall challenge of the financial problem with these farmers itself.
वर्तमान में मंडी के सभी लेन देन मैन्युअल रूप से कागज पर दर्ज होते हैं। इस कार्य में अत्यधिक समय एवं श्रम लगता है। किसान एवं खरीदार की विस्तृत जानकारी करीब 7 बार अलग अलग रजिस्टरों में दर्ज करी जाती है। मंडी में स्टाफ एवं समय की कमी के कारण कई बार डाटा अधूरा रह जाता है। वर्तमान में किसान को सिक्सार पर्ची बहुत कम मिलती है एवं वह उसकी जरूरत नहीं समझता। लेन देन एवं तौल माप का पूर्ण चक्र कभी पूरा नहीं होता, जिसके कारण मंडी शुल्क की हानि होती है। मंडी इंस्पेक्टर हर आढ़ती से मंडी शुल्क वसूल करता है एवं सार्वजनिक परिवहन से शुल्क के रुपए मंडी परिषद के खाते में जमा करता है। इन्हीं सभी परेशानियों के निवारण के लिए भविष्य में मंडी के सभी लेन देन एक सरल कार्ड सिस्टम द्वारा कराए जाएंगे। इस सिस्टम के मुख्यतः 3 बिंदु हैं: पंजीकरण, लेन देन, सत्यापन। किसी भी खरीदार या किसान के मंडी आने पर उसके वाहन का माल सहित तौल किया जाएगा। उसके वाहन का नंबर एवं प्रकार सीसीटीवी कैमरा द्वारा दर्ज हो जाएगा। इसके साथ किसान या खरीदार की विस्तृत जानकारी बूथ ऑपरेटर द्वारा कार्ड में डाल दी जाएगी। यह जानकारी मंडी कर्मचारियों द्वारा कभी भी देखी जा सकेगी। बाजार में किसान माल बेचने के लिए आढ़ती के पास जाएगा, जहां उसके माल की बोली लगाई जाएगी। तय खरीदार एवं किसान के कार्ड को आढ़ती के पास पीओएस मशीन में लगाया जाएगा एवं खरीद बेच की सारी जानकारी कार्ड में दर्ज हो जाएगी, जिससे पूर्णतः सारी लेन देन एवं शुल्क राशि कार्ड से ही ली जाएगी। यह जानकारी मंडी कर्मचारियों द्वारा कभी भी देखी जा सकेगी। किसान एवं खरीदार को उनके कार्ड एवं रसीद दी जाएगी। निकास द्वार पर किसान एवं खरीदार का वाहन फिर से तौला जाएगा एवं कार्ड में दर्ज जानकारी को बूथ ऑपरेटर द्वारा सत्यापित किया जाएगा। इस प्रकार लेन देन की क्रिया पूर्ण हो जाएगी। इस कार्ड प्रणाली के माध्यम से किसान लेन देन की क्रिया में मार्गदर्शक से एक महत्वपूर्ण भागीदारी बन जाएगा। हर सौदे में पारदर्शिता एवं श्रेष्ठ मूल्य पा सकेगा। किसान एवं खरीदार का बहुमूल्य डाटाबेस भविष्य में केंद्रीय सूचना विभाग द्वारा मांग एवं आपूर्ति के विश्लेषण के लिए लाभकारी होगा। किसी भी अनियमितता की जानकारी मंडी समिति को वर्तमान रूप से मिल जाएगी, जिस पर शीघ्र ही कार्रवाई हो जाएगी। आढ़ती मंडी शुल्क की राशि स्वयं मंडी के खाते में जमा कराएंगे। कार्ड सिस्टम के दूसरे चरण में अस्थायी कार्ड को एटीएम कार्ड के रूप में बदल दिया जाएगा, जिससे पूर्णतः सारी लेन देन एवं शुल्क राशि कार्ड से ही ली जाएगी।
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
So, Siddharth, you want to wind up now?
Yeah, I think that's good.
I think this has been quite a nice, insightful presentation, and what can be a better prize for a teacher than listening to his own student and his achievements on the Teachers' Day. Really proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. I never realized that. Oh, today's 5th.
So, all right. For the students, do you have any questions? In fact, I'll forward you a message from Siddharth. There is another talk at 6 o'clock by him. So those who are interested to take this discussion forward, perhaps, or maybe listen a little more detail about some of these projects related to museums and pathfinding, branding, etc., they can actually join that particular session as well. So, right, any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
This is Sneh.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Since you were doing a lot of project, in a single project, you might be handling a lot of signages and a lot of data handling. Is there any particularly software or how you would handling the data? Like, this kind of a signage would be printed in this form, this kind of a signage will be printed in this form, and what would be the language? Maybe later on, client would have changed that. नहीं ऐसा चाहिए, plan maybe change चाहिए. So, any
No, I mean, I'm trying to understand your question. So, data handling is happening on the computer itself, and then we use all the Adobe softwares, which is the industry norm, which the Adobe Creative Pack you to use, where you can you can do a lot of iterations when it is required, and then there's a whole process of doing these things. So what you do is that you do a lot of prototyping, and then you try to show it to the client, so it's kind of approved. And when there's a text, then the responsibility is higher, because उसमें ना text में in books, if something get printed and it is published like 1,000 copies, then it is a disaster. So you need to be very, very cautious about following the process, that you need to proofread everything, you need to make sure that everything is right, you need to take signatures on it, and then there's a set of 3 people who kind of signs on the data before it get manufactured or published, which is first the scriptwriter, and then the copywriter, and then the proofreader. So that is how it happens, and they need to be aware about the all the softwares and the material which you're going to be using.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, Siddharth, just now the person you were talking to is Sneha Walia. Sneha was, I think, 2-3 years senior than you. She was, if I'm not wrong, Butul Abbas's classmate.
Yes, sir, I'm from the Butul.
Oh wow, nice.
So she's come back to do her PhD now. She's a She's a faculty at Sneha. Which place is this?
Sir, I am a faculty at Manipal University, Jaipur currently.
Right.
And so that I asked this question because I worked for there's a company called Dar Al Handasa. So I was actually handling the signages only. So there we used to handle the 33,000 signages together. So there was that was a challenge. So I thought let's ask you that how you face that. I mean, how you handle that challenge. Because
So I don't think that we use a special software now. I know the understand better, because I was thinking of a different scenario. I thought that somebody at a master's level asking it. So, I don't think that there's the software being developed on, especially wayfindings, to me at least. We do it on the Adobe software itself. And of course, the filing is important, but I don't think there's a special software we use.
Okay. So nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I think Satyaki sir, I think his work will be very much useful to me for as far as PhD is concerned. So thank you.
No, I know. Actually, you should attend his session in the evening also.
Sure, sir. I will.
Yeah, Siddharth, in the evening there's someone else with you, right?
So this is we and Prashasti. Prashasti is a designer at Design Factory.
Yeah.
So we are talking about heritage spaces.
Okay.
So it's kind of a chat, architectural chat on how to do heritage spaces.
Right.
Yeah. And Sneha, we will do probably whatever I can help. I will be happy to do it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that would be.
Through this, probably I will do my iota of PhD, which I want to do since long.
Oh, definitely. Thank you.
So I think students, you can ask anything, because I probably practically know that where you are coming from. So please don't hesitate in asking any question. You can ask me anything.
Yeah, I think it's better. I mean, if you guys want me to go, I can go. You carry on.
Hello, sir. Yes, sir. I am Shravan. Sir, yes. I want to ask you that after graduating from college, how you got your first project in your company?
Siddharth, you want me to respond to this?
So you can.
No, so he got this project while he was studying with this company, and then continued with the company later on. So the first project that he was working on was while he was actually doing his MDes.
So my first project was I did my internship with this company, and then I got to know the owner of Arcom, and then we became friends, and we thought we should do something together. And that is how, I joined to open up a design school, which is the Design Village. So I'm the founder member of that school, so my first project was designing the curriculum of a design school, which is based out of Noida now, which is a 6 years old school. So for first 1 year, I was doing that, and that is how I got the first project. But in Design Factory, after doing the course in 1 year, I realized that I don't want to be the only theory guy. I want to do something which is of designing, for the companies, for the clients itself. Uh, yeah, because I thought that I'm not that. I don't have that much patience and intellect to be. It requires a lot to me itself, and so that's how I thought of opening up a design company myself. And then the first project I got was, we were not getting any project earlier, to be very frank. And then the first project is always tough. So we were going from pillars to pillars, showing that this is what we do, this is what we can do, and please give us the project. And then, once you get into the industry, nobody listen to you. Everybody thinks you are a startup, and then, but somehow you manage. So what I did was that I thought of opening up this workshop, which we used to do at Alto, which is known as PD6. And what we did was that we went to the companies saying that aapke paas koi bhi problem ho, we can solve that, and just give us 15,000 rupees, and we will get students across the India, and then we will get the biggest mentors. So I fortunately got Satyaki sir and Janta sir and Mati, and so everybody for that workshop of 1 day. And then we got students, and we paid for their train tickets. We got students from across India to participate for free, and we promised companies that we will get 10 students working on a problem if you give this money to us. So, which is that is how we got the first 4 projects for that workshop.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So there's no rule to it. You need to beg.
Yes, sir.
For the design students, the only thing perhaps I have to say is that in order to do design, the only thing you need to keep in mind is to make the world a better place to live in.
Yeah.
If you're passionate about that, then rest of the things fall in place.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, and I think you need to enjoy it. Doing that, it should not look like you are opening up an NGO. It's like it's like making your girlfriend happy also, which will also make a world a better place. I'm just taking it a bit informal just to tell you that it should not come as a responsibility. It should come as something which you want to do.
Sir, I have a question. My name is Nirmal, and my question is like how the industry have changed from past work, from you graduating to this much experience. How the industry as a design industry have changed when it comes to India.
So I think I come from a very different part of design industry, which is the design studios. There's a huge design industry which is at the companies itself. I think at companies, I think they have changed a lot. Everybody understands now the importance of design and design thinking. Like for example, I remember that once we were into the college, we got to know there's design thinking, and then there's IDEO, and then these were the new terms. Now you talk to any industry, they will know design thinking as like 10 years old thing. So the industry, that time, interaction design was the new thing in a way. Now it is, it's an old age field. So I think industry has evolved a lot. It has changed a lot. In design practice, I would say that industry has opened up with the new fields of design. Earlier, they used to think that only architects do that, fashion designers do that. But I think industry now realize that there is no one type of designing, and then there is a lot which design can do rather than just decorative things, which is, I think, a constant thing which is happening since ages. I mean, with Miniso and Muji and IKEAs of the world coming to India, soon you will see products of high. Soon you will see the products of high importance, good design coming to Indian people's place. You used to go to earlier to any metro city or a person, you will see ugly looking table or a chair and a crockery being used. Slowly and slowly, you will see Indian markets and houses having IKEA, Pepper Fry or Pepper, whatever that company is, and Miniso and Muji products. So it's a shift. People will do that. People now have mature choices of buying. And that is how the industry is also changing, because the industry now knows that the people understand it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So anybody and everybody, you can message me the questions if they are not coming right now, and I will be happy.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So let's close the session. So next week, Siddharth, we'll talk about next speaker for next Saturday, right?
Totally.
Right. And it will be a good idea if we can get a product designer this time, a full product designer. Right?
Yeah,
there are a lot of students here in this group who've come from engineering background and they want to really get into product design. So it'd be nice to get somebody who's actually working in the industry purely as a.
I think Umang can be interesting. Just the first name came to me as Umang.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I haven't heard of Umang for a long time.
I will ask him.
Yeah. Chalo. All right, guys. See you. And if you have any questions to Siddharth's email ID is what? Siddharth Bathla at blah blah blah.
No. It's Siddharth@designfactoryindia.org.
Yeah. Okay. See you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.